right now here in Los Angeles County, there's a black woman who's the DA. And we worked together as prosecutors. And after she won, she said, I just have to tell you that my father would follow your career because he was like, you know, we don't get to see a lot of stories about black men who are trying to make a difference.
Yep.
And yet in hearing that, that's why it was very humbling and devastating, because I was like, I've let everybody down and I'm supposed to be one of the guys that's supposed to, you know, be the example. And I was beaten up on and it's funny, I was on another radio station and I mentioned that I had to go into therapy about it. And people were responding like, it's so good to hear that a black man allowed himself to admit publicly that he went to I was like, because I'm not used to being that guy. And I had to sort of go deep and go, okay, well, what's going on? What's the message? Because I was like, did I lose my mojo? Did I do something wrong, God? But the fact of the matter is when people come into the court or in private situations, someone was dealing with a child who had autism or couldn't have a good, stable job or the relationship was on the rocks, I really couldn't relate. So I would hear it, but I really did not have true empathy, because I think true empathy comes from when you're tested and when you're dealing with stuff. And so when you mention a Colin Kaepernick, and I'm like, now there's no way in hell this brother should not still have a chance to play, and yet he's winning Emmys, he's making money, and his life is so much bigger from the test, because most football players, after a few years, you're like, what's the guy's name again? I mean, you don't even know anything about him.
They don't know their names either.
No. Well,
but you know what's funny? I always had empathy because I always was the guy. I was always. It's funny because the juxtaposition between you and I think hope we enjoy a relative level of success. But I always, like Jay Leno sat on that couch yesterday and talked about how if you would have. Every time you go on TV, you're always talking about black people and what happened to black people. Because I knew what it was like to have no one believe in your basic humanity. Like your basic, like your judicial system was a humbling, horrifying, demeaning experience, especially in Los Angeles.
I would agree.
And
that case, Jasmine, that you talked about with the police officer and being slapped, which is why I'm very intrigued by Kamala Harris, because on the one hand, I'm looking at a black woman who made the decision, instead of most black folks who decide to pursue careers in law, go on the defense side. But when you're the prosecutor, you're not asking for diversion. You're not asking, could you dismiss the case? You're the person saying, I'm going to dismiss it. Right. Simultaneously, you're also the person saying to the cop, oh, this is some BS. I mean, I filed cases.
That's why and
I had a cop say to me that the suspect banged his own head into the tree. And I was sitting there going, are you serious? I'm like, really? Do we need to do some additional investigation on any complaints?
How come you didn't say what the old Kevin would have said? Please, how come you didn't do that?
Hey.